And good morning, everyone, here on the Miss Earth Crown page. This is a beautiful morning here in the Philippines and also there in the United States. From the Philippines, maraming salamat for those who are tuned in right now to our hot and exclusive interview with our latest Echo Angel crown for Miss Earth USA 2020. So it's going to be a fun and light conversation, and I will be joined not only by our queen but by also by one of our MEC team members. Let us all welcome to the panel our editor-in-chief. Let's all welcome Mark Ligachalian. Marky, how is everything over there?
Hello, it is a rainy Sunday morning. Would like to welcome you to another interview here at Miss Earth Crown. You know what? Fresh off of her crowning as the new Miss Earth USA, we have a special guest today. And you know what? Since we are blessed by rain, we're also blessed by beauty. So I'm excited to get to know her. We'll ask her about her new crown and what will be her journey, and we'll make it fun as well. So we're very excited for our guest. So please stay tuned. I'd like to turn you over to Nonoy.
Thank you, Mark. So again, it's kind of early here in the Philippines. It's 10 a.m. and I know it's 10 p.m. back there in the United States. But then we are not short of beauty and beauties for a cause for today, because we have for today in our live interview no one else but our newest Miss Earth USA 2020. Let's all welcome to the panel Miss Earth USA 2020, Lindsey Coffey. Hi, Lindsey.
Hello. It is so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I am so overwhelmed right now with such great emotions.
Yes, thank you very much. First, we would like to say congratulations. Let's say congratulations to our new queen,
Thank you
Lindsey
so much.
Coffey.
Thank you. That
So
means
again,
so
this
much.
is yes. So this interview is happening a few hours after the virtual coronation of Miss Earth USA 2020. Am I right?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay. So now I would like to know, how does it feel a few hours after you were declared officially as the Miss Earth USA 2020? What are your emotions right now, Lindsay?
Well, I am so overwhelmed, as I mentioned, but this has just been a crazy experience.
Great.
I'm
Okay.
being
So
crowned on Las Vegas stage. I'm sorry.
yes. Okay. Yeah, you may continue.
Well,
You may continue.
okay. Whether I'm being crowned on the Las Vegas stage where we were originally supposed to have the competition, or whether being crowned virtually in my backyard, it is still the same great honor to hold this title. I was nervous, shocked, surprised. Honestly, it's just a privilege to be able to actually have a title that aligns with my passion. So I immediately cried afterwards, and I honestly was not expecting that emotion. So even just seeing my reaction, honestly, it was just so genuine, and it made me realize how passionate about this cause that I actually am. So it kind of made me realize I'm in the right spot. This is where I'm meant to be.
Great. That's really great to hear, Lindsay. Now, since you are the newly crowned Miss Earth USA 2020, we would like to know, how does it feel being the very first queen ever crowned as Miss on the virtual platform? Tell us your experience, perhaps, like shortly. How does it feel competing in a virtual pageant? Because, as you mentioned, I think you were ready to compete in like a live pageant, right? But then, lo and behold, you are competing in a virtual pageant. So, how was the experience overall?
Overall, again, I'm going to say very overwhelming. Whenever we received the news about going virtual, I didn't know what to do. So all of these thoughts came rushing to my head. How was I going to do this? How was I going to create quality content. So we all had a lot of questions that were answered very quickly as well. So it kind of diminished my stress early on. But again, it was overwhelming trying to find a location to film in as well. But again, being crowned virtually or in person, it is still such a great honor. So I'm happy that I was still able to do this despite not being in person.
Great. So again, we are so delighted that you are here today on Miss Earth Crown. And first, would also like to thank Miss Laura Clark for greenlighting this interview. I think this is your very first, right? Very first interview, fresh from your victory as Miss Earth USA 2020. And I know all of our fans are excited to find out more about you, about Lindsey Coffey, about this new queen that was crowned as Miss Earth USA. Now, before we move on to our segments for Miss Earth Crown, maybe it's time for us to read some of the comments from our fans right now because the comments are pouring for you. Lindsay, let's see here some of our comments here. We have here Arvin Salazar. Would Lindsay Coffee is a complete package for Miss Earth 2020. Thank you, Arvin. Yay. We also have here other fans who would also like to say hi to you. We have here Lindsay Yates. Hello, sister queen from the USA. Congratulations, Lindsay. There. Thank you, Malika, for tuning into our show today. Now, we have here one person who mentioned something about your beauty, super deserving and beautiful. Carrie Russell would like to say that to you, Lindsay. And here,
Oh.
we have here Mark Russell Gaspar Alvaro.
First set of fans, if you don't mind saying hi to them. I'm pretty sure later we will get to interact with you and ask you questions, say hi to them, and thank them for supporting you.
Yes, I cannot wait for that portion. I've been looking forward to that. I can't wait to engage with everyone as well. So I'm very excited to answer anyone's questions that they have about me. As I did kind of just come out of nowhere in pageantry, so I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions.
All right, that is good to hear. Thank you so much, Lindsay. All right, so I guess we're ready for our segments. So we have prepared two segments for you because we'd like to make this a bit of a relaxing interview for Lindsay. Let's have a bit of fun. We have two activities. Okay, first activity is what we call two truths and a lie. So Lindsay prepared something for us. She has three statements. So, as a host, I will guess whether which one is the truth and which ones are the lies. So, to our viewers, we'd like you to interact with us and just guess which do you think is the truth and which do you think is a lie. Let's just guess and get to know Lindsay. Let's see. All right. So that's what will happen with the first activity. Second activity is a bit of a it's sort of a fun activity as well. We call it date me or befriend me. So we will show pictures to Lindsay, and these are a famous man, okay, in Hollywood, and she'll probably just share to us whether she'll date the man or the guy or befriend the guy. So very simple activity. So these are the two fun activities. So are you ready, Lindsay?
Absolutely.
All right, then. So let's hear it up from Lindsay. We'll start with the first activity, which is two truths and a lie. So, Lindsay, what are your three statements?
All right, I'm excited about this. I'd like to see who is the great lie detector out there. So tell me if you can catch me. I am an ordained minister. I've never drank alcohol. And I can hold my breath underwater for 2 minutes.
Hmm. That's challenging. Wait. Ordained minister, never drank alcohol, or I can hold your breath for 2 minutes underwater. Hmm. Let me guess. Okay. Wait, I should be careful. Mm. Uh, the two truths there would be you've never drank alcohol and you could hold your breath for 2 minutes. So those are the truths, two truths. And the lie would be you are an ordained minister. But before we know the truth, I'd like to ask for Nonoy's answer. Nonoy, what's your guess?
Okay, I think. How old are you, by the way? Let me ask.
Cheating, you're cheating,
I
you're
want to
cheating.
I, I want to
I don't know.
ask.
Should I tell him
How old are you right now,
or should I
Lindsay?
just let him guess? I am 28.
Because I need to know. Okay, okay. So I think you have. I think you have drunk alcohol. That's the truth. And I think you are also an ordained minister. So those are my two truths. Okay. Now for the fans, maybe you can also guess in the comment section what you think are the two truths and the lie about our extra special guest for today. So Lindsay, are we correct?
Well, combined with you both, you guys are both incorrect. So my truths are I am an ordained minister. And I also, in
Oh,
my
wow.
years, have never drank alcohol.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Wow, wow, wow.
I mean, I wish
Okay,
everyone.
Noe, maybe we could check with the fans, okay, if they got it right as well. Thank you so much for that, Lindsay. That's very interesting. But while we're checking if the fans got it right, I'd like to find out. So you are an ordained minister and you've never drank alcohol. Okay, that's pretty interesting for me. Um, so what made you, since you are an ordained minister, if you don't mind, um, what made you join Miss Earth? I'm just trying to connect minister and joining Miss Earth. What made you interested with pageants?
Well, I feel like maybe to clear that up a little bit more to tell you why I became an ordained minister. So that reason was to actually officiate my best friend's wedding. So that was the reason I did become an ordained minister. But pageantry is completely brand new to me. So this is really my first time really getting out there. So pageantry just kind of snuck up on me. And I really feel like a lot of this was kind of brought on by fate as well. So I didn't really have any knowledge about pageantry or what it really stood for. So as I was going in blind. But as this year kind of came about in the end of last year, everything just kind of aligned, the stars aligned, and kind of brought me to Miss Earth USA.
Wow, very interesting. So since you're new with pageantry, I think this is your lucky year because you've just been crowned as the new Miss Earth USA. Imagine you're the first woman to be crowned virtually in Miss Earth USA. It's your first year since you mentioned that this is your first time to join a pageant. How does that feel? Everything is a first for you.
I know it is very exciting. As mentioned, I kind of really found out about Miss Earth because, well, the pageantry world, my very first pageant kind of opened the door into me researching more of the pageant industry. So I came across Miss Earth USA and I found out that they aligned with my priorities exactly and we shared the same cause. So I just kind of felt like I was directed into discovering Miss Earth USA. And whenever I also found out that I just made the application before the deadlines and I also made the age cutoff, as I am 28 as mentioned, this is my last year to compete. So really it was just kind of like fate. And it's so overwhelming to think about because as winning the title, this just confirms that I was kind of meant to do this. So it's all very exciting. And being the first virtual Miss Earth USA, it is awesome that we are also kind of making history and I'm a part of that. So that's very spectacular.
Indeed, you are part of history. And I like that you mentioned that this is your last year to compete, and I agree with you. I think the crown is really meant for you. It's fate. I would say that it's really fate. And I like that you mentioned that your priorities as well as your advocacy is aligned with what Miss Earth stands for as well. Maybe you could share to us a bit of a background. What is your environmental advocacy? So, and how are you planning to take it way forward?
Well, if you've tuned in to the live show, I spoke on in one of my statements how I've always had such a connection to nature ever since I was young. I just felt I could be at peace whenever I would go outside during difficult times that I would be struggling through. I would always kind of become clear-headed if I would just kind of sit in nature and just take everything in. So that started from a very young age. And then as I grew, I learned that that was actually my emotional outlet. So I was blessed to be able to have that because it takes some to find that if they find one at all. And growing up, I participated in the Adopt a Highway program that we have over in the States, where you adopt a portion of a highway or a road near you, and you just clean it every so often whenever you see that there's like a lot of litter on the road, that you just really kind of take action. You always clean that up, keep it clean, and your name is actually presented on that roadway to show the work that you have been doing and to know that this highway is being cared for and kept clean by myself. So I did that for maybe like 12, 13 years before I ended up moving. And then I also would participate with my Pittsburgh Allegheny Cleanways whenever I was also living in Pittsburgh as well. So I would always involve myself in just trying to do my part and to make a difference, even though at the time I felt like, well, what's one person? What can they do? They can't really affect anything, but they can. One person can make a change, and that's what I love about today, is that with our social platforms, one voice can be heard, one voice can make a difference and can rock the world. And so that's my intention. I want to bring the climate crisis and environmental protection to the media outlets and use the social platforms that we have been given to raise awareness. Because not only are younger generations just completely involved with technology, we have also seen our older generations getting involved as well, because that is how the times go. You always have to evolve and adapt to your surroundings and the society that you are in. So media is such a big part, and I feel if we are able to just speak and profess the severity of the climate crisis, people will engage and they will take action, because they will realize that we are at a tipping point. We're 1 degree away from our tipping point. So action needs to be taken now. We are on a deadline, and the public needs to know that. There are so many natural disasters that go on worldwide that people do not know about. These have been the 5 hottest years in history of the world. I'm not sure if everyone knows that. There have been record-breaking heat waves throughout the world, just globally. We've had severe flooding in, the Philippines, Ukraine, England, Bangladesh, completely destroying everything that it comes in contact with. So we are destroying our planet, and we are escalating the situation and just speeding up the process of completely destroying the world that we live on. So I just want to bring that out more to the media so people become more aware.
You know what? I can truly relate to what you're sharing. I love that. What struck me with what you shared is you are very passionate about taking care and doing something about the environment. Plus, you've been doing it for quite some time. So this is what the essence of Miss Earth really is all about. It's just not a one-time thing. It's really a commitment to your advocacy, a commitment to the environment. So thank you so much for sharing that, Lindsay. So I'd like to find out more then, since we were turned into the virtual way of doing things. I'd like to find out, what were your preparations? Because a face-to-face pageant, an actual pageant, is quite different from a virtual one. What is the difference for you, and what preparations did you make to ensure that you are mentally and physically prepared on a virtual pageant?
Well, to be honest, with the whole issues that we're facing today that brought us to the virtual pageant also took a toll on us mentally, physically as well. So I believe, just as people, we weren't really in our best state of mind or body. So because of the issues we were facing, so to get past that was kind of my my hurdle I had to jump over. So what I ended up doing was I would go to the gym. I have a personal trainer. We train 5 times a week, which is kind of a lot, a minimum of 5 times a week.
Wow, that's fine. That's a lot indeed.
And so that really helps me gain clarity. It just makes me feel good. It makes me feel strong that I can honestly take whatever is thrown at me. And I also like would just prep by speaking with my friends and kind of discussing my goals, my advocacy, my platform, just so I can be prepared to share that with the world. So there was a lot of behind the scenes prep, of course, it completely different than what you would get for a live pageant, as you would have the entire week in Las Vegas to bond and interact with your sister queens. So unfortunately, we didn't have that bonding, but we were able to bond virtually. And so we really got to know each other and support one another and ask questions and answer those questions and just create that community virtually. It was different, but like we ended up doing it. We got there and it turned out all right. I actually really enjoyed the show. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as well.
Yes, we did. We just watched the show a few hours ago. And since you mentioned that you somehow bonded virtually with your sisters online, who are you close to? And how did you make that connection? And why were you close to your sisters? Maybe you could give a shout out to them.
Oh, of course. So, of course, my Sash sisters, we have Team Miss Atlantic. I mean, she honestly is so just smart and confident and encouraging and supportive. She's absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful to have her as a Sash sister and a sister queen. I'm so glad I was able to meet her virtually, of course, and I actually hope to meet her in person as well. So she's absolutely been amazing. Her mom has absolutely been amazing as well. We've also conversed through social media, and they've been great support systems. And Elite Miss Pennsylvania and Miss Pennsylvania Earth herself, we've all connected also virtually, and again, they are both encouraging. As they also know, this is really my first pageant and Miss Pennsylvania's first pageant as well. So we kind of connected on that level, and as I am from Pennsylvania originally. So it was just a great support network. And Miss Northwest, she won Miss Congeniality. So she was absolutely a sweetheart, and I absolutely loved talking to her. She really tried to get us all connected, and she would schedule a virtual sisterhood as we were supposed to have one in person. So she really took initiative and kind of tried to put us all together. So they've been amazing to me. So I appreciate them all, and I'm so glad I was able to meet them.
And you know what, Lindsay? It's a good thing that you have this sisterhood because they will be your support system as well. So the moment you compete in the actual virtual pageant, you have a lot of friends that or probably people who would support you. You would draw from their positive energy. So that's good to hear. And that's the beauty of pageantry. You don't just get to have a platform and voice out your advocacy. You will have a chance to make lifetime friends,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
All right. So probably another one, since we're still talking about the virtual pageant, it is actually Miss Earth who I would say would pioneer this first ever virtual pageant globally. A lot of major pageants have already canceled. We have what we call the 4 major pageants, and out of the 4 major pageants, majority of them canceled. It's just Miss Earth who will continue virtually. What are your thoughts about this? I'd like to hear it. So, because it's a different platform, and some say I'd like to give you some hard talk because this are coming from the fans. They
Okay.
say that the virtual pageant is it's boring and we're not used to it and we don't like it. These are statements coming from them. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. How is the virtual pageant helpful? What do you think are the pros? And what would be the cons of having a virtual pageant versus a live one?
Well, as a viewer, I completely understand it's not as engaging with the audience as seeing the contestants in person. So I do understand where they're coming from. And as a contestant, a virtual pageant is easier, as in you do not have to worry about tripping on stage or a wardrobe malfunction. And you can also, if given to you, practice your personal statement or your final question in advance and do multiple takes. So you do not get those options during a live pageant. So there are a lot of benefits for the contestants. Now, I do wish it were being held in person because I would absolutely love to go to the Philippines as I have never been. And I mean, I am quite the traveler, so there are a lot of countries on my to-do list, and the Philippines is one of them. And just to be able to feel the energy and the atmosphere of a real pageant would have been amazing, as I am new to pageantry, as we've discussed. So I never really got to feel that sense of like community and passion in person. So I will be missing out on that, but honestly, health is very important in this state of the world at the moment. So if we do not want to put somebody's health in jeopardy, especially with people that have compromised immune systems and are more vulnerable, the way that we can do this is just kind of listening to really the World Health Organization and follow guidelines and follow the hygiene guidelines as well. So honestly, I feel health and safety is a lot more important than is to crown, was to have the former queen crown her successor. So we will reach that goal. It's just not as entertaining getting there.
You know what, Lindsay? Well said. A lot of points that you've mentioned, I totally agree with. But on top of what you said, I agree that the health and the physical well-being of the candidates is of utmost importance, and I think the organization put that as a priority. And here's the thing: since you are doing it virtually, you would have a wider audience because a lot of people will be watching you. You will get a chat. Your platform is even bigger in the virtual world. So I agree. I agree with all of your points. All right. So thank you. Wow. Now I know why you won. Now I know why you won.
Oh,
It's good.
stop.
Well said, well spoken. Now I know. I'm no longer surprised now. So thank you for that. So although apologies, we were supposed to do another activity for I mentioned a while ago, date me or befriend me. However, we encountered some technical difficulties, but it's okay. We'll move on. We still have fans who are excited to talk to you. We have FB Live questions, so I'll be turning it over now to Nonoy.
Thank you.
Lee, that was really a mouthful of like a conversation, and we can't wait for yeah, we can't wait for you to like grace the virtual stage of Miss Earth. Okay, there. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, there. Perfect. Okay. So again, we can't wait for you to grace the stage of Miss Earth 2020. But before that, we have one more challenge we're going to throw at you right now, Lindsay. But before that, let us go back to our Facebook Live fans. By the way, this is being streamed. This interview is being streamed not only on Facebook but also on the YouTube channel of Miss Earth Crown. So let us see some of the comments here right now from the fans. Okay, we have here one fan, Chloe Jamaica Altamirano. She said, winner, the one to beat. That's what she has to say about you, Lindsay. Thank you, Chloe, for tuning in today. We also have here a comment from Linel Valenciano.
Hello,
And
Linnell.
Linel Valenciano says, I told you, Lindsay, you have a potential to win and you won. So I think you had a conversation before with Linel online. Great. Okay. Now this one is okay. This is a really loaded comment. Kulin Lang says, I have never been so sure about someone might be winning the crown after Catriona. She is Catriona in Miss Earth. What can you say about that, Lindsay?
Actually, thank you very much. You're not the first. Yes, you're not the first one who has actually told me that we share similarities. So I've actually heard that even before I started the process of pageantry. So even before I got into the game, I actually was told about Katerina. So I do believe you because you're not the first. Multiple people have said that. And I honestly thank you graciously because she, not only is she absolutely beautiful, but she carries herself in such an elegant way and she's so confident. So I would love to be compared to her. So thank you.
Yes. Well, of course, we agree with that. But then, of course, we also want to point out that I think Lindsey Coffey is going to carry her own torch when she competes at Miss Earth 2020. So we cannot wait for that to happen. Now, speaking of Miss Earth 2020, we're going to throw in a little challenge this time. Okay? So, what's going to happen is in celebration of the 20 years of Miss Earth of the Miss Earth competition, we are going to ask Lindsay a couple of final questions from the past 20 years of Miss Earth.
Wow, exciting.
Yes. And we're going to challenge her to give an answer to these iconic questions. Okay? So Lindsay, are you ready for the Miss Earth Q&A relay?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's do this.
You're Okay. So the first question we're going to throw at you is this. This was the question given to the very first, okay, to the very first Miss Earth 2001. Okay? Her question was, technology makes life very convenient, but it is also being blamed for certain environmental problems. How do you propose to find a balance between technology and earth preservation? So that was the question in the very first edition. So again, technology makes life very convenient, but it is also being blamed for certain environmental problems. How do you propose to find a balance between technology and earth preservation? What is your answer, Lindsay?
Well, we have come so far with technology and need to use the technology that we have to find better options for renewable resources like solar and wind. We live in the age of invention, and technology can help us create more. And if we create more reliance on renewable resources to provide that energy, we would significantly reduce our carbon footprint. So it's kind of just utilizing the resources that we have just to create better ones. We have amazing innovators in this day and age. We have so many products that have been in testing that could possibly help even vacuum out the CO2 from the Earth's atmosphere. I believe it's called direct air capture. And we also have cloud seeding. So there is so much technology that we have created to help with the environment. But also with the technology that we have, I feel we should also possibly create and focus on creating easily accessible electronic recycling programs, because I feel a lot of people do not recycle their electronics properly. And I feel like that would also kind of contribute a lot as well, because disposing of your products is very important.
Wow,
Well
very,
said.
very
Well said. Well
great
said.
answer. Okay. So
Thank you.
again, this is only like a warm up, but then we are pretty impressed, Lindsay, with your answer to that very first question on the Miss Earth competition stage. Now, we have here one more question. Are you ready for our next question? And this is actually very timely for the 20th anniversary of Miss Earth. Okay, so this question was asked to Angelia Ong back in 2015. And this is, I think, one of the most timely questions right now since we are celebrating the 20 years of Miss Earth. Now, Lindsay, if you could create a slogan for the next 20 years of Miss Earth, what would it be and why?
Well, that's a lot to think about because it's 20 years, so that's a remarkable amount of time. So you have to have something pretty catchy and impressive, and it's kind of hard to do that with minimal words, like to capture that in a slogan. So if I were to think about that, I mean, I really fight for a lot of people evolving and changing as people, because whenever you evolve as a person, that is when you can be able to change. Because as you grow awareness, that is the fundamental basis of providing change. So if I were to come up with a slogan, I would have to say change for tomorrow, because every day is important
Wow.
and every day you can make a difference. So do not let one day go to waste, because your actions that you take today will carry over into tomorrow in order to have a brighter future and a better life for everyone. It's about your actions that you take today, not tomorrow and not next week, but today. So that's what I would say.
I love that. I love that.
Go, Mark. Sige ka naman.
All right. It's a very interesting slogan, and I think I agree with you. We have to change for tomorrow to ensure that we preserve our environment. I love that. I love that totally. Okay, so I think I have a new quotable quote coming from Lindsey Coffey. Love it.
Great. So, wow, thank you, Lindsay, for accepting our Q&A challenge. That was just a warm up and slash like a practice for the upcoming Q&A for Mr. 2020. Now, speaking of questions, now is the time for us to look at the questions coming from the fans, because there are a lot of questions right now. Okay, so allow me to flash some of the questions here from our fans. Okay, so this is coming from one of our avid viewers, Adrian Untulan would like to ask, what is your life before Miss Earth USA?
Well, I would say even the younger version of me, I was an athlete my entire life. And as I mentioned, I still work out like 5 days a week. So athletics and sport is very important to me. So I would focus a lot on health and fitness. And also, I'm currently a full-time model. So I would travel the world and see amazing places and see different cultures and meet just beautiful people. So I I would define myself as a pretty well-rounded person and well-rounded individual that stays involved. So I feel like before Miss Earth, I really just kind of focused on myself, and I was just kind of doing me at that time. But now that I have this title, and the reason why I even got into pageantry with Miss Earth USA is because I just felt like I needed more purpose in my life. So I'm hoping that now moving forward, my future self will be just a little bit more involved and active, and actually speak with a voice that people will hear. So I I feel like I will also be the same person as well, but I'm looking forward to the future me also. I feel like I'm very excited for this path that I will be going on.
Yes, yes, of course. And of course, we agree that whatever experiences you had in the past, you can actually use and apply in your journey now that you're going to be the official representative of Miss Earth USA to the Miss Earth 2020 stage. Now, we have here another question. This is a very interesting question, actually, coming from one of our fans. Alexis Franklin would like to ask, if you had to fight a war to protect the Earth, which Miss Earth, past or present, would you choose to fight besides you, and why? So it's
Wow.
like
Interesting.
building your own legacy
Exactly.
here for Mother Earth. So who would you choose? Actually, you can choose more than one if you want.
This is actually a great question, and I wish I could answer it. But as I am new to pageantry, I hadn't really learned of a lot of former queens and really kept up with their reign, as I really didn't involve myself in pageantry at all. I didn't really even know about it. So unfortunately, I cannot go back in history to answer that. And that is such a great question. I wish I could. But I will say with our current Miss Earth, Nellie, she not only is she just absolutely stunning, but she carries herself with such confidence and grace. And I honestly feel like confidence is such key in this world, because if you have confidence, I mean, you have everything. And if you don't have everything, it looks like you do because you're confident. So it honestly really just plays a part in everything that you do. So if you really kind of just stick to what you're saying, you profess very eloquently and kind of just are confident with you and you carry yourself very well, I feel like you can really accomplish a great amount of things. So if I just had a line of confident, strong women with me that will not back down and their voices will not sway, even if it is not the most popular opinion, then that is where we will be able to fight and continue with change. So that is a great question. So I wish I could answer that a little bit
Yeah.
better for you. But
Yes. Yes. Actually, I would like to do a follow up on that because I watched your finals a few hours ago, and you mentioned something about what's one striking statement you mentioned there is that you are not afraid to speak up and stand up for something, even if your opinion is not the most popular. Right? I think you mentioned that in your statement. Now, given the
yes, I
fact
did.
that climate change, yes, climate change is a really hot button topic right now, how will you um, how will you talk to the naysayers and non-believers in climate change, even if your opinions are not going to be as popular as the others?
I recently discussed this topic, similarly, this topic with someone else. And the issue is with every cause, with every just movement that you are trying to create, there will always be critics and there will always be those naysayers. But the fact is, unlike the war with racism or gender identity, those are basically just ethics and morality and your personal preference and opinion. So it's not as much fact based. It's just what you've been taught through stereotypes and as you in ideologies in a say as you grow older. But what we have as a benefit for the environment is we have the facts, and you cannot dispute facts. You cannot argue and counter argue against facts because we have the factual information to disprove you and your theory and your view. We are at a crisis. The only way to describe it is a crisis. We have the facts that we are only 1 degree from our tipping point. We have seen through, just even though it's not in high media levels, just the natural disasters that are occurring throughout the world. If you were to look for them, you would be able to find them. You would be able to see that this is actually happening. You can talk to your scientists and your environmental studies and your other activists, and you will see that we have fact-based information supporting us. And so if you are going to decide to argue against that, I feel that you will be missing out on a lot of logic and ration because you are trying to disprove a fact-based comment.
People take the mark.
You know what? I just like to give feedback to you, Lindsay. I like your sincerity. I like your honesty, and I like that you know what you're talking about. And to think you mentioned that you're a newbie in pageantry. You're very well researched, well spoken, but very sincere and very honest. Please continue doing that. Okay, that's an important element of a queen. That's
Thank
just
you.
amazing. I'm very impressed.
I would actually like to further that. I was actually really nervous about entering this pageant because I felt underqualified, because I really was going into this blind, and every other contestant, they have founded their own nonprofit, they were a CEO of a company, they already had their law degree. So I kind of felt intimidated and that I was lacking in areas. But the whole point I feel about just even being in a person, it's not about necessarily the journey, but it's about your destination. So I might not know a lot about pageantry, but I know who I am as a person. I know my passions. I know what the cause is, and I know how to combat it. So as long as I stay true to myself and I know my destination, that where I want to go, it doesn't really matter my past accomplishments. It just matters my future outlook and where I really see myself.
Well said, my God. You know your destination. I love that. That struck me the most. Thank you.
Thank you.
great. Wow. And again, first timer or not, I think your passion, your determination, and your commitment to the crown and to the cause is going to give you, it's going to give you like a lot of like advantage during the competition, and we can't wait for that to happen during the Miss Earth 2020. Now, speaking of the Miss Earth 2020 competition, Lindsay, here is another question from Chloe. And she would like to ask, in competing at the very first virtual pageant in Miss Earth, what do you think makes you stand out to win the crown?
That is a good question. Even to fast backtrack into what I was saying, as I did feel very intimidated because I felt that I was lacking certain qualities that would prevent me from obtaining that title. So I had a lot of kind of, I don't want to say negative thoughts, but a lot of worries that I just wasn't as qualified. But again, I know my passions and I know what I need to do and I know how to do it. So what I really stand out was not only the fact that I am new to pageantry, because I feel like that is not as common, especially in national pageants. So I'm also a newbie, and I like to think I carry a confidence about myself. So even though I'm kind of just jumping into this, going in completely blind, not knowing what I'm doing, I'm very confident in my actions, in my words. And as I mentioned before, confidence is key. So I feel like maybe you were able to actually see my confidence through our pageant, that I knew what I was doing and I felt comfortable. So I think maybe that kind of had me stand out a little bit, considering that I was a complete newbie.
You know what? I agree with you. It's really your authenticity that stands out now. And speaking of that, I'd like to validate it because we have a fan here who said, according to Aquaria Valor, authenticity and kindness are Lindsay's greatest attributes. So what can you say about that?
First, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I take so much pride in being authentic, because also being a full-time model, being in the modeling industry, it's a lot of illusion, and you don't really take things at face value because there are many different layers under each person, because it's all about kind of presenting who you are as a person to other people, to make yourself look a certain way or to make people think that you live a certain life. So I really take pride in being authentic, and I am an open book. I'm so honest about any question that somebody asks me. I will give them an honest answer. So I do really think I am authentic, and to be acknowledged for that, I greatly appreciate that. So that means that I'm actually doing what I set out to do, is to be an authentic and genuine person. So thank you.
You well said. There's another fan here. We from Guyana, Alexis. Yeah, she's saying hi. Love from Guyana. Say hi to Alexis.
Hello, Alexis. Hello, I hope you're well.
We have answered a lot of questions from the fans, but I think we can end the FB live questions with this important question from Ryan De Paz Banyal. Since we are in the midst of a global crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, he would like to ask, what is the most important lesson you've learned during this pandemic? Maybe you can share your life lessons during this crisis to everyone, all of our fans right now.
There are actually a few things I would like to touch on. So first and foremost, the most obvious one is hygiene. I am such a clean person. I am very meticulous and kind of on, like if I touch something that I feel is dirty, I immediately wash my hands. And it was actually somewhat humorous when my friends messaged me during this pandemic. They were like, Lindsay, you are going to survive this. Like, tell me your ways. Like, how do you stay so clean? And I'm like, just wash your hands. So I wash my hands just a lot. So it's health has really gained a lot of perspective with me, because it kind of opened my eyes to kind of hygiene recommendations aren't really taken as seriously. So I'm hoping globally, we can really take hygiene into consideration and honestly just know about just diseases and infections, and especially with people that have compromised immune systems, that our actions, even though we might not be susceptible, there are other people that are, and viruses can spread so easily, as we have seen, in such a rapid time, that it is not to be taken lightly. So hygiene is very important. So I'm hoping that everyone can take that into consideration. And also, I've noticed, at least in America, the societal norms, whenever you were to introduce yourself to someone, or say you saw an adorable baby in a grocery store and you would approach them, it kind of also made me realize how friendly and how just communal we are as a society, and how we honestly thrive off of just communication, interaction, and touch. Touch is very important as a human. It is one of our sensations that we actually need. And if we go long periods of time, we do become touch deprived, and our sensory system begins to kind of is out of balance with our normal societal functions. So it also gained a new insight for me with how important it is to be social and interact with other people, because as humans, we are very social, and we actually need that in order to thrive and to be mentally healthy as well.
Wow, that's a really great message. And we agree. Let's not let the social distancing and pandemic let us forget that human interaction and human kindness can go a long way during this crisis. Am I right, Lindsay? I mean, that's a really strong statement. Now, now that we have extensively talked about your advocacy, your journey as Miss Earth 2020, and you are now preparing for the virtual staging of Miss Earth 2020, and Linel Valenciano would like to put it, it's about time for USA to win Miss Earth. What are your plans and your preparations for the upcoming 2020 competition, Lindsay?
Well, a lot of that is still in the works. So we're still discussing that. After I was announced as Miss Earth USA, I did have a conversation with Laura and the Miss Earth USA staff. So we are still into discussion about that. We are going to prep for it to the best of our ability. So we will work on just coaching for how to coach for a virtual pageant. So we will be experimenting with that. But as of right now, a lot of the actual significant details are still kind of like, we're still playing them out. But on my end, I am still going to keep up with my mental and physical health, because that honestly really helped me through these past few months. And I now know what routine I need to help me focus and feel strong and confident. So I will be continuing with my workout routine. I also, as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned, I am a vegetarian. So I've been a vegetarian for about 20 years, and I honestly feel like the diet is really important to be clear-minded and to have your brain activity at its fullest. So I really am cautious about what I eat and what I'm doing with my body. And the biggest one I feel is to honestly practice on presenting myself and having a connection with the audience, especially whenever it is virtual. So I really want to try and teach myself how to really put myself out there, have you get to know me and understand me, and really feel like we have a in-person connection, even though it's virtual, if that makes sense. So I really want to focus on just my presentation, more so being virtual rather than in person, because I do feel a lot of people, you can really pick up on somebody's energy immediately once you see them in person, but online it's a bit different. So I really want to work on getting my energy out there and kind of just letting everyone know who I am from a virtual standpoint.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So we have talked about a lot of things regarding Lindsey Coffey, our Miss Earth USA 2020. Lindsay, now is the perfect time for you to say thank you to all of your supporters, to all of the supporters of Miss Earth USA, and maybe you can ask them, like a message of thanks and gratitude, and maybe asking them for their support as you continue on in representing USA at Miss Earth 2020. Take it away, Lindsay. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you so much for all of the support and the encouragement. As I have been new, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And seeing everyone on social media supporting me and cheering for me while not knowing who I am and just never hearing of me before, I'm so grateful for you. I honestly probably wouldn't have been able to do this without you, because just kind of jumping into something that you know nothing about, it's very concerning, and you honestly don't feel as confident. So you have to really look for the support of other people to tell you, no, you're doing a great job. Like, this is, you're doing you, like, be confident. Like, this is your path. You're meant to do this. So with just the stars aligning and like just this amazing fan base that has honestly encouraged me to even just kind of push me a little bit more, because I honestly did. I had doubts, and just having this community base just be so supportive. Honestly, I can't thank you enough. And I would love for you guys to follow me along as I'm on my reign, especially being virtual. I would love your support even further, your feedback as well. So if you would like to speak about a cause, or honestly, if you would like to have me do something more virtually that can be greater outreach to all of you, I would love to hear that. So the best way to connect to you, please let me know, because I want to say thank you, and I want to make you all proud, because I honestly, this has been absolutely overwhelming and amazing for me to be able to do this. I never thought in a million years that I would actually be, well, sitting here today accepting this title. So honestly, thank you so much. And please continue to support me, because I would not be here without you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. You know what? If I have to say, if there are if you have two greatest weapons, first would be your authenticity. Please continue being authentic, continue being you, continue being honest, down to earth. I think that's a strength. And another weapon for you is your advocacy. You stay true to the advocacy, stay true to what Miss Earth stands for, and you will go a long way. And I agree with you. If it's your destiny, it's your destiny. It's really fate. Okay. And I'm happy for you, and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. This means the world. Thank you.
There. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm round of applause, a virtual applause to our one and only Miss Earth USA 2020, Lindsey Coffey.
Thank you
Thank you
so much.
very much for this wonderful interview. And we cannot wait to see what you have in store for all of the fans in the coming weeks, in the coming months, going into the Miss Earth 2020 competition. Once again, we would like to say thank you to all of our fans, to all of our FB Live fans. Thank you for the active participation. Yes, we love everyone. And please stay tuned here on the Miss Earth Crown page for more exclusive interviews like what we have right now with Miss Earth USA 2020, Lindsey Coffey, because we're going to interview more of your 2020 Echo Angels here only on the Miss Earth Crown page. Once again, in behalf of Markley Gatchalian and of course our Queen Lindsey Coffey, this has been Noy Sabilano, the Chief Correspondent of Miss Earth Crown, saying thank you. Maraming salamat from the Philippines, and have a great and safe day, everyone. Bye, everyone.